Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is exactly 13 after 9 o'clock South African time. And we cross over to Turkey now, to Istanbul, where our reporter is on the ground, Hasina Gori, who's been bringing us live updates from the time that the earthquake struck in Turkey and Syria, the devastating earthquake which has wiped out parts of 10 different cities in Turkey. She is on the ground right now. She's moved from the earthquake area. She is now in the city of Istanbul, and she's going to give us a sense of how different the situations look from the earthquake devastated areas to the city of Istanbul. Is it business as usual? How are the people responding? What are they saying? Are they in a daze, or are they hopeful that inshallah things are going to get better and they're going to be rebuilding and supporting their brothers and sisters that were devastated by the earthquake? Assalamu alaikum to you, Hasina Gori. Welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam. And yes, it's quite a stark difference, between the earthquake zones as well as here in Istanbul. But also, if you've visited this place before, there's also a sense of mutedness, I think, right now. Compared to usual, yesterday driving in, it was a lot quieter. Even in the evening, there is people around. There's still, local Turkish people still milling around. There's also tourists still, but it's not the buzz that usually we see. What we found and what we're hearing from people is many sorry about that, are trying to still understand and pick up the pieces. We know that schools are expected to open today. Universities will close indefinitely. And I'm told that's because some of the universities in some of the provinces, especially in the western region like Izmir, have been converted into spaces that those that have been displaced can now move to and stay in. In this area, we've seen lots of, Turkish residents come out and volunteer, go and help pack boxes of aid in certain centers, distribute as well. So there's a sense of collective sadness, of mourning, of grief. You've seen the buskers that usually line Istiklal and Taksim Square now playing a very softer melody compared to the usual melodies that you'd hear while you're walking through the streets. But it is somewhat business as usual, especially now given today is 2 weeks since the incident took place. We know I saw reports this morning that say that there's been at least 5,000 aftershocks that were recorded. We were in Gaziantep this weekend, and before we left, we walked through the city, which is quite a popular local tourism area. It's on the Silk Road, and it's got a fusion of different heritage and culture based both in the Syrian and Turkish histories. And we went through the Papa Bazaar there, and it was quite closed. Most of it was not operational. There were one or two, shoemakers and iron copper workers still working, but for most parts, they weren't even trying to hassle and heckle people in to come and buy their supplies, which is rare walking through a bazaar in anywhere in Turkey. So it's going to be quite a while before you see business as usual. What was also what a concern comes now is that the huge humanitarian impact and crisis that is. There's believed to be 15 million people that were affected by this devastation. They've either internally migrated, different areas. In Gaziantep, we had people coming from Ariamin and various other areas in the villages around the city, like Nurda, which has now been leveled to the ground because it's been deemed inhabitable because of the instability of that area. So the houses that used to stand have been brought down. Those people are staying in temporary shelters that were put up by AFAD, which is the Turkish government aid and the relief, the local relief. But on Saturday when we were there, those trends were now being, dismantled because immediate relief action has now come to a halt, and there's more long-term plans. So those that were displaced once again now need to look for another place, which is in another more permanent camp, which is usually the stadiums we use, some schools, some of the universities. And if there's no space there, they're left on the street. We spoke to a mother, with a young child who said that they were left now on the street trying to find a place. We spoke to others who are now returning home after 6 days of being on the road. Some saying they slept in their cars, for 2 or 3 days after the earthquake happened in the rain, scared. They're now returning home and they're still scared to be staying in those homes we've also seen that the Turkish government has given a grant of sort to those who are affected by this earthquake to allow them to have some kind of surplus to balance out the loss that has had, but many say that money won't bring back the families as well,
Absolutely.
some losing an entire lineage in one sweeping blow. And also there's a concern around supplies. Prices are going up. We've seen inflation in areas such as Izmir and Antalya and Ankara, where these refugees are coming in. So rental prices are now being driven up already, within 2 weeks, because it's a demand for places for those that can afford it. And what is also a huge concern would be the Syrian refugees who were internally displaced or displaced already, leaving their countries and now coming into Turkey to find refuge, and once again, being unable to find that once their homes, if they had any, were damaged. And that doesn't even account for those that are still within Syria and within the rebel, areas who have been struggling to get aid, to get assistance, and to get medical help. There's so many thousands that are in hospital who are, still, being treated for their wounds from the earthquakes. This is going to be a long road for the Turkish country, but I think there is some hope, coming through, especially going 2 weeks in. There is a sense of, while this is a period of mourning and grieving, that life has to start slowly picking up, and that they need to try and see how they can rebuild.
And that's where we leave it, Hasina Gori. Inshallah, we will talk with you tomorrow. My producer said to me that today was the last live crossing to you, but you've indicated to me off air that you are still there tomorrow. You're only flying out in the evening. So inshallah, we'll hook up with you again if you don't mind. But before I let you go, we've just had a Facebook. We've had a message on Facebook. Someone called Eagle Eyes saying, Assalamu alaikum. Hasina Gori has given us great coverage. She's done a great job. And also Salaamedia is doing a great job. Alhamdulillah for that, Eagle Eyes. Continue watching, continue listening. We love you too. Hasina, till tomorrow, inshallah. Go well, keep safe. Assalamu alaikum to
Wa
you.
alaikum salam.
It is exactly 9:20 news and views right here on Salaamedia. Standing by to talk to us is Roshan Dadu, a long-standing activist and the current national coordinator of the South African BDS Coalition. We are, of course, going to be talking to her about the diplomat from Israel that was removed from the African Union Summit. So, yeah, we're very pleased about that. Let's hear what she has to say. Please do stay with us. This is News and Views right here on Salaamedia.